I want you to get together. I want you to get together.
Hello everyone. Today I want to continue talking about clowns and their relation to the Nephilim Giants of the past. Now, if you followed the episodes up until now, you'll understand I've already made a solid enough case, I believe, to say that the offspring of fallen angels mating with human women created monsters which looked like what we would today call a clown in Western culture. However, when I say clown, something like Ronald McDonald here, if we can get this picture up quickly, this image you're seeing essentially is merely a caricature of the real thing, an archetypal reference to the Nephilim Giants of the past. I've explained that the Nephilim have pale white skin, red hair, and were cannibals. So the red around the mouth you see here and the nose is because they were digging in to human flesh. Quick reference to throw in here. See this little slit just below the eyes? I also believe this is a reference to the reptilian nature of these beings, as they are said to be, some of the fallen angels were reptilian-like, and their offspring therefore had reptilian-like features too, like the slit in the eye. So I think as a clown, often you see with the crosses in the eye, this may be a reference to that, I have heard. So that's a very interesting thing to throw in there. So yeah, I've explained there briefly. If you haven't already watched the videos, they're in a playlist. I suggest you go check them out on my channel, because this is now the 4th or 5th video, I think, in relation to this series. And what I'm about to say may not make much sense unless you go back and watch those videos first. But there's a quick recap. So moving on, I've been collecting so many pictures and images of cultural references to the Nephilim clowns. In the meantime, I've also been trying to draw what they probably would have looked like in the past. Here's a quick, very quick sketch of what I'm kind of imagining here. As you can see, this red hair, the hair growing as though a jester hat would grow. Sorry, moving back there. So yeah, they would have had probably black and white clothing on to some extent. They had long necks, large craniums, skulls, big wide reptilian smiles, big eyes, often blue. I don't know what the pupils would look like. It may have varied among many different types. But in the background here you can see people wrestling with one of these giants with the hair in the same shape. And I'm theorizing this is probably where we got the jester image from, with the hat that curls over, because of the way the hair was shaped. Here's the blood around the mouth as it's holding some human's head down here in its arms. So yeah, these things would have been vicious, ugly, disgusting looking monsters. That's a fact. The flood didn't just happen for no reason. These are the things which God was trying to remove off the face of the earth. Here's a more detailed drawing I've done recently based on the skulls and what they look like. I think this is probably close to something similar. I sent an image to Gary Wayne and he suggested I move the cheekbones higher and extend the chin. So imagine that yourself, and that's probably what these things would have looked like. So there's my imaginings so far. As a side profile, here's the hair curling down, and the same in the back on this large, wrinkly, snake-like, serpentine-like skinned monster. Put blood around the mouth and a red on the nose. You've got a clown. This is what a clown would look like. So I think again, I'm close to what I'm trying to say here. So where to begin? I mean, do I talk about films? Do I talk about what I've seen in the fashion industry or ancient culture? Now, I'm going to go with films today because it's probably the most popular and the most interesting. But let's just stick to just a couple films for now, because I want to keep these videos quite short so people's attention spans don't go off the rails and they just disappear. So let's talk about Alice in Wonderland. That's a very popular one. It's the first thing on my list here. And once again, in reference to the clowns, we have the Queen of Hearts. My trivial knowledge on this Film is lacking. I haven't seen the original film since I was a child, and I didn't bother to rewatch the new film. But we're looking at archetypal images here. Now, obviously, Alice is in some kind of fractaled, bizarre underworld in deep down some rabbit hole, where bizarre creatures and beings of a psychedelic nature are residing in their own kind of kingdom, and that is exactly what the Nephilim are doing right now, biblically speaking. They were wiped out by the flood, put on the other side in their spiritual forms, behind a veil here on earth in their own dimension, and people, Satanists, who worship these demonic entities, which is what they are now, demons, try consistently to get to the other side, or get them from the other side here. So Alice in Wonderland is basically saying, let's go to the other side and see what's going on. And we have clown-looking entities. So here's the Queen of Hearts with her wild red hair, big and bushy to give the impression that the skull is much bigger. The head is very large compared to the body, as you can see, so a reference to the large craniums of the Nephilim. She has red around the mouth and pale white skin. So another archetype reference to what I believe is the Nephilim. The blue around the eyeshadow, I'm realizing, is that these Nephilim beings had either green or blue eyes. So that's probably what that is all about. Here we have Tweedledee and Tweedledum in this, again, very trippy, fractalized, natured realm. And they have, what I thought was quite interesting is, though they are pale skinned, they don't have the wild hair, but they do have this repeating pattern, which I've noticed and referenced in other videos, of the black and white lines, which I believe is a reference to the fractaled, duality principled nature of the realm they are trapped in. Another example of the black and white fractal lines we can see in ancient cultures is something like this in the Heyoka tribe, where this being, this entity, which is believed if you do the dance it will bring rain and thunder, had the black and white fractal lines. I've mentioned it in other videos, so you can go have a check on them as well. But it seems to be a reoccurring theme. Another example I saw recently was like the Hamburglar, for example. Now you could say that, oh, well, that guy's just wearing a prison's outfit, but that's the exoteric understanding they expect most people to take from the image. Esoterically speaking, the hidden message behind this is a wide-grinned, bizarre-looking entity from the other realm, represented by the black and white fractaled lines of the duality. You can see the checkerboard, but in Freemason symbology, is something similar. So we go a bit further on here. Let's get back to the films. So yeah, we have the Cheshire Cat. Again, a cat is a cat. We understand that. However, the eyes are reptilian in nature. They are green, emerald blue, like I mentioned earlier. They have the slit like a serpent's would. And it has a big, wide grin like a snake as well. Now, this is, I think, a direct reference again to some of the Nephilim offspring. They also are said to be incredibly hairy creatures in some parts of the world. Not just bald or pale skinned, but just covered in hair. Think of the Sasquatch, for example, or a Yeti. So, again, we can assume they may be remnants of the offspring of the Nephilim. And here we have another direct reference to, on the other side, in the veil, in the fractal matrix, a wide-grinned, sharp-toothed, reptilian-eyed, hairy creature, which I think is fascinating. Now, it's not the first time a cat like this has been referenced before. There's an old book created in Russia during the communist regime called Master and Margarita, and there is a cat in there which decapitates people and is kind of a smooth-talking, witty 50s-style gangster. Who has these eyes, just not dissimilar from what we saw from the Cheshire Cat. Reptilian eyes, cat eyes the same, so there's a reference of some kind. But if we keep going along here, you can see this thing's called Behemoth. And Behemoth is a demon. It's a monster. It's something which is, biblically speaking, a demon. And one of his associates here, wearing a black and white lined fractaled suit in the colours of Satanism, which is black and red, wearing the hat, which is the Mad Hatter we could talk about in a second from Alice in Wonderland. He has red hair and pale white skin. So another reference there in movie and theatre. This is a reoccurring theme. Obviously you saw the chess symbol as well. referencing the black and white checkerboard of the chessboard. So I think that's quite fascinating, something to bring in to link into this cat symbology or the reptilian eye symbology. So obviously, we have the Mad Hatter. Not a high quality picture here, sorry, but again, it's clear to see psychedelic fractaled coloured clothing. The hat is a reference to something I'll talk about later. If you haven't already, I have a video called a demonic encounter, the Hat Man. And the Hat Man is something that many people of the world have encountered in nightmares, dreams, and visually. It seems to be a high-ordered, high-ranking demon of some kind. I don't know what it looks like underneath its cloak and hats, but maybe this is giving us a hint. It's wild red hair, like the Nephilim, pale white skin, like the Nephilim, and blood red lips, just like the cannibalistic nature that these things were. Obviously, these are caricatures. Bear that in mind. These are lesser images of a higher principle. These are drawings of the true 3D objects. This is not exactly what they would have looked like, but it's a human way of representing them. So another idea there, obviously the Mad Hatter closer up. Are you beginning to see a reoccurring theme here? They've given him cat-like, reptilian, green, emerald green eyes as well. So something to bear in mind. So that's that for now. We'll sum it up here, just to give you a reference to back up the things I've been saying prior, and that is this film here, Alice in Wonderland. Another reference to Nephilim Giants. I'll speak to you soon. I'll bring more information to you. I'll do this one video at a time. I'll go through each film. We'll go through each reference. I hope you enjoy this series. I hope you're getting something out of it. I think this is a very important piece to the puzzle. So, if you have anything you want to add to this, any films you can remember where clowns were referenced, please send me. I will appreciate it beyond belief, because this is difficult. I'm not an expert on films. I don't bother myself with television. So if you can bring anything to me, video games as well, any platform, whatever it is, even in art or film or theatre or music, please send it to me. Thank you very much, guys. So have a good day and God bless.